Hey guys, it is Chantel with Find Your Beautiful You. I'm here in my bedroom, actually. I've been kind of chased out of my office this week. I've got lots of kids over, so I'm just running with the punches, and I had to find a quiet place, and so that quiet place is my bedroom today. So excuse the little bit of a stutter in my camera, excuse the lighting, but I wanted to come to you guys with kind of a thought that I've been having lately. Summer's coming to a close, and I've been just kind of thinking back on everything that's been going on for me and kind of a message that I have noticed. And so I wanted to kind of share it with you guys. But I have encountered quite a few people lately that have been going through a lot of trials and a lot of hard things in their lives. I have a friend who was accused of something quite horrible, and it changed her career. And I have to say she's a better person for it, and she will agree with me on that. And she is grateful for the trial that she went through. I have another friend who unfortunately lost their child this summer, and despite the fact that it has been a horrible, horrible experience for her, she will tell you that she is a better person for it, and she is grateful for the experiences that have come her way because of the trial that she has. I have another family member that's had lots of medical problems, and despite the fact that it's been a horrible experience for her, it has brought the family together closer, and it has brought out so many positive different stories and aspects. So I wanted to kind of talk and highlight on this idea of our trials and our failures and the storms in our lives. And so I wanted to kind of give you an analogy that I had come up with. So I used to be a bike rider. I will honestly say it's not my forte, and it's not something that I've been the best at doing. But about a year ago, I had hopped onto my bike, and it was for an early morning ride. I like to do things early and exercise early. And I left my house. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was still pretty dark out, and I couldn't see the clouds yet, and I could see that the streets were pretty dry. But I pulled out onto my street, and I noticed that there was some lightning up to the north of me and also to the south of me, so either side of me. And I figured, if the storms had come, they had already passed through the night, and I would have no problems on my ride. So the first mile down, I was totally fine, and everything was perfect, and I was enjoying the cool morning air. And then I noticed that the street started to be a little bit wet, and it had been obvious that that area had been recently hit by rain. But I continued on. And at exactly about halfway through my route, and this was kind of an uphill climb, I started to have sprinkling, and there was a little bit of rain. And then it was like a torrential downpour. And it was coming down so hard that I could barely see in front of me. And there was rivers of mud running down on either side of the road. And there was debris everywhere. And I don't like riding in the rain. I love the rain. Don't get me wrong. But I find riding in the rain pretty miserable. And at that moment, since it was an uphill climb and I couldn't see in front of me, I got off my bike, and I was kind of in a bad mood at that point. And I was telling myself, this really sucks. I don't like being here. I don't like being drenched in the rain, and I really don't like, riding miles and miles in this rain. So this thought comes to me, though, in the middle of it and says, what else are you going to do? You're kind of in the middle of this thing, and yes, it sucks, and yes, it's hard, but what are you going to do about it? So, I kind of had this little fight back and forth with myself saying, I could throw the bike on the side of the road, sit there and pout, or the only way that I could really get through it is to get back on my bike and ride through the rain. And so that's kind of what I did. I will say I was not in the best mood, but I got back on my bike, I started pedaling, fully expecting that it was going to be a really hard uphill climb, and it was going to take me a lot longer than I had originally anticipated. And usually I'm a pretty positive person, and usually I would like to say that my attitude changed immediately, but that's not what happened. I disliked every minute of that ride, and I just really didn't like it. But even though I was riding pretty slow, and eventually I did get to the other side of the storm. And at this point, it was at the top of this little hill incline that had been going on my route. And just as quickly as the rain had started, it stopped. And I got to the top of this little incline, and I was able to kind of have a view of my neighborhood, of the little valley. And let me tell you what, that view was amazing. The sky was beautiful, and the sunrise was hitting the clouds just above the town that I'm in. And directly below where my incline was that dark cloud formation, just sitting there and soaking everything that it came across. And it was like the way that I can say is it was like that little rain cloud was trying to ruin my day. And it reminded me of Eeyore and Winnie the Pooh and how there's that little dark rain cloud that follows him around. And the point of all this is that, on one side of the storm, the morning was beautiful. And, on the other side of it, it was trying to ruin it and ruin my day. Riding through that storm sucked. I hated it. But knowing that I had gotten through it and riding through it, it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And so I kind of liken it to the storms that we go through in our lives and all these different things that happen. Life hands us these rainstorms from time to time. It's just expected. No one's life is going to be, rainbows and butterflies all the time. There's no possible way. So sometimes we have to ride through these storms to appreciate the beautiful sunrises that come along. And sometimes those storms are going to last a lot longer. Sometimes they're going to be a lot shorter. But when those storms come, you have a decision to make. Okay, what are you going to do in the midst of that storm? Will you sit there and complain and say how life's unfair and how this shouldn't happen to you? Will you make it mean that the rest of your life is ruined and that you're just going to sit inside that storm forever? Are you going to call it quits? Okay, or are you going to get back on your bike and ride through that storm? One way or another, you have to get back home, right? So you have to get through the storm and get to the good stuff on the other side. And the only option that you have is to move forward. You can't move backwards. You can't move to the side. You have to move forward. And the quickest way to get through that storm is to turn your face into the wind and move straight through them. Okay, if you have to pass through life storms, the quickest way to get through it is to point your face towards the storm and move through it with determination. So you can get through it as quick as possible. And sometimes that's out of your control as far as how fast you can get through it. But the best way to do it is to turn your face towards the storm and just go through it as fast as you can. You can't be, and you shouldn't be, the person that's just sitting there complaining about how life is unfair to you all the time. And you can't be scared of those storms that come in your life. You are strong enough to overcome them all. And I promise you, you're going to be even stronger once you get past that storm. Sometimes it's going to take you getting to the top of that hill and looking at it from, an eagle-eye view to understand and appreciate what that storm was for you and the person that you became because of it. Recognize the storm, decide where you want to go with it, and then get back on your bike and ride. I promise you that almost all of the good things that come in life are on the other side of really hard storms or challenging weather. And you have to remember that there are two things that you can always control in any crisis, in any storm. And we've talked about this a million times. It is your attitude, how you look at the situation, and your effort. And if you get those two in the right place and you push through, everything else will fall into place. And I promise you that. I want to urge you guys to ride through the storms and to come out on the other side and appreciate the lessons that it gave you. I love the fact that we have these analogies. I love the fact that we have these storms that help us relate to other people when we get through them. I think that's part of the benefit of having those storms at times is to have a better perspective as to, how we can get through them and help other people. I love this journey that I am on, and I love that I'm seeing other people's transformations come about because of the information I'm able to share. I hope you guys have a fantastic week and a wonderful end to your summer if you are like me and your kids are coming close to getting back into school. So enjoy these last couple weeks with them, and we will talk very soon. And find your beautiful you. Bye.